Hey all, Pastor Rick here with another Blair Road United Methodist Church Thoughtful Thursday moment. Thanks for joining us today. Now, one of the basic fundamentals of our Christian faith is resurrection. And we often remind ourselves that we're Easter people. We live with the hope and promise of an empty cross and an empty tomb. God's story tells us that the worst thing isn't the final thing. Death does not have the final word in God's story or our story. And while this is a fundamental and foundation of our faith, do you ever have trouble believing it? I know I do. Life brings bad news to us in countless numbers of ways. And there are so many distractions that compete for our attention and loyalty. And we're conditioned to view life through comparative lenses so that we constantly evaluate ourselves based on what others do and have. And on top of all this, I've never met anyone who's gotten out of this life alive or has come back after dying. So all this can make it difficult to really live into the reality that we are Easter people and that resurrection is the reality for us, not just in the future, but in the here and now as well. It can be difficult to believe that there's life on the other side of a dead relationship, dead dream, dead finances, or when anxiety, fear, and worries dominate our thoughts. But God sends us signs of new life all the time, whether we recognize them or not. God often does this through the people in our lives because God chooses to work through people, through us. Every time we make a meal or share a meal with others, every time we send a card to cheer someone up, every time we spend time with someone in order to better know their story, this is God working through us to bring about new, changed, transformed, and resurrected life. So if you're facing a difficult situation or a loss at the moment, know that it doesn't define you. And it's not the end of your story, just a part of it. God really has written a better story for all of us. And God wants us to lean into what could be and not get stuck on what is. Lean into the hope and promise of an empty cross and an empty tomb. And this Sunday, we're going to talk more about resurrection and what it means, not just for the future, but in the here and now as well. And so we hope you'll join us here at Blair Road United Methodist Church in person, either at our 8:45 traditional worship service or our 11:11 contemporary service. And if you can't be here in person, you can join us via our live stream on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for another Thoughtful Thursday moment.